This is Steve. I met this young man on a visa run to Laos about a week ago. It was his 6th trip. He had the experience. I needed some help. He was a gracious guy, offered to help me a lot, showed me around the town that we stayed in, and he started talking about Pattaya and how he had lived there for so long. And he began to explain his story and tell me all the ins and outs of the struggle, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, things that mattered and things that didn't. And the more he talked, the more I listened. So I decided, while I was still in Laos, that I would make a trip to Pattaya the following weekend. And I would sit down with Steve and I would let him explain many things regarding the city of Pattaya, living in Thailand and living life as an expat who is not a YouTuber and has no outside influence. This is his story. Enjoy.
Pattaya is probably, outside of Bangkok and maybe Phuket, one of the few cities in Thailand that has a lot of Westerners living here. We have a large expat community. Most of the Westerners living here are retirees. They enjoy the weather and the nightlife. And they have their pension to spend. They have their retirement money. It affords them a very nice lifestyle here. You don't really find a whole lot of, middle-aged men and women that want to teach here long-term for the money. You find maybe you've got those fresh out of university want a year or two of travel, and they teach in their gap year. The backpacker crowd, there's a lot of them here, not so much in Pattaya, but other places in Thailand. But you don't find people that want to transplant. Say, oh, I'm living in the West, I want to move out here and work out here to support a family, to earn my retirement. It's not that it can't be done, it can, especially with a modest living. The problem is Pattaya doesn't lend itself to anything modest at all. It is the city of excess. Anything and everything goes here, and is acceptable. And that is not good for a long, healthy, happy life. It's not. Basically, the first 6 months of working here, it started to change. I had sold my motorcycle back in the States to kind of, maintain my lifestyle here. We downgraded from a condo to a more modest room, still serviced, had a pool, lovely, much better than where I am now. And, we were still going out most nights, eating good food, having a nice nightlife. Then further on, there's less and less money. My girlfriend, I can't just, keep her out of work as it is, so she goes back to work. And that's when it gets really difficult because, Pattaya is unique in the world in that relationships are not what they are in the West. Most of the women here work in what we call entertainment. And if they're going to not work, well, they need to provide for their family. And it's part of the culture that there's the expectation that the Westerner would help with that. Whether it's correct or not, whether you want to make judgments on that, that's up for someone else to decide. But my girlfriend goes back to work, so we're seeing each other less and less. I come back from work, I'm alone in the room. What do? I go out. What do you do when you go out at night in Pattaya? Oh, you drink. And what do you do when you drink? You make dumb choices. You waste money, and then life just gets harder. It just, step by step, you can see it just downgrading. The nice steak dinners start to go down to chicken and rice, start to go to eggs and rice. The drinking, took its toll on my body. I got fat, fatter than I am now, But I was fit when I got here. I was healthy when I got here. You stop spending money on the things that you would take care of yourself with in the West. Health checkups, dental care, things like that, because you're trying to maintain a lifestyle you shouldn't, and trying to keep people happy that you shouldn't really. And yeah, it's just not meant to be. But if you're gonna live here, you either have to have the money to afford it. You either have to be wealthy, or have work in the West, whatever. You need to have a business, and then you can live a normal lifestyle. But if you're gonna scrape by and try and work day to day and keep people happy and live healthily here, it's gonna be a huge challenge. And there are loads of mistakes to make, and some of these mistakes will, affect you for the rest of your life. They will. So I stayed with the girlfriend I was with for 3 years until things fell apart. The last year we were together, we had a baby. I have a daughter, 2.5 years now she is, and she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I just wish I hadn't had her here. I wish I hadn't had her maybe when I did. My girlfriend and I weren't married, so I have absolutely no legal rights or custody rights to her. I have to pay a lawyer to fight just to get 50% custody rights. I don't have the money to do that yet. But I'm trying not to fight anyways, because I'm just tired of fighting. I'm tired of it all. Eventually, if you live here long enough, you get tired of it. You get tired of drinking every night. You get tired of going out, doing the same shit in the same clubs and bars and pool. It's great if you're retired and that's all you do, I guess, but I'm not. It's great if you do it for a few months on holiday and then you go back to your country and, live and work. But the only people that live and work here full time that I know are not terribly happy people, and they don't live very happy lifestyles. They want to leave if they can, A friend of mine, he's married, a good marriage. He did not meet his wife in Pattaya, but he works here, and he's not terribly happy. At least he wasn't when I knew him. We've had a falling out. What I'm trying to say is, it's hard to make real, relationships here, friends, whatnot, because you have a constantly cycling community of vacationers and holidayers mixed in with older retirees, and it's hard to meet people that if you have a connection with and you have a friendship with, well, chances are they're going to leave, and leave for who knows how long. And so it can be a very lonely place, and it can be a very depressing place sometimes if you let it. Just to sum up all the the depressing crap, for Westerners living in Thailand, there are statistics to be aware of. They have the highest rates of depression, substance abuse, alcoholism, and suicide in the world. And it's a segment of the population that the Thai government doesn't or really can't afford to, assist too much. Pattaya especially has a reputation for what we call the Flying Club. And it's not the Mile High Club, don't get that mixed up. That's a much nicer club. The Flying Club is when, for some reason, there's all these high-rise condominiums with these really problematic balconies. A lot of old men tend to fall to their deaths, and whatever partner they might be with, usually a Thai, ends up reaping the benefits. I'm not saying that that's what happens. I'm not saying anything, bad. I'm just saying if somebody can benefit from your demise out here, they will probably try to do it. Be careful who you trust, Thai and Westerner alike, especially Westerners here. People come from all around the world here, and the types of people that come here are not always the types you might want to meet with back in your home country, right? There's t-shirts they sell here everywhere. It says, Good guys go to heaven, bad guys come to Pattaya. Except for me, of course. I'm the one good guy here. No, it's just the way it is, and you have to be careful and accept it. Now, there is something more about this place as well, though, that is maybe harder to define, and it's much more positive. The good of this city is that it brings people from all over the world together. Every night, if I go out for a walk, go out to find some food, I hear every language spoken on this earth. I see people from all around the world that I probably wouldn't see where I lived in California. I meet people and I learn about them and where they're from. And I like to play a little game. I like to see someone and try and guess where they're from, what country they're from, hear what language they speak, and try and imagine what their story is. Because Pattaya is full of stories, good and bad, and they all have worth, and they're all worth hearing.